Hi, boys and girls. For math today, we're going to start with a few story problems, and then I'm going to show you some games that you can play on your own and some story problems that you can do on your own. So we're going to start with this story problem. So make sure you have your cubes and your whiteboard ready. You can pause the video if you need to get them. It says, Michael collected 6 silly bands. For his birthday, he received 10 silly bands from his friends. His family gave him 5 more silly bands. How many silly bands does Michael have now? So remember, the first step that we always do when we are working is we want to use our math tools to build the problem. Okay, so use your cubes right now and go ahead and practice building. Okay, you can pause the video if you need a few more minutes to build. After you build, the second step is going to be to draw a picture. So I'm going to think about what the problem is telling me again. It says Michael collected 6 silly bands. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 6. Okay, and remember I'm looking at the cubes that I already have, and I drew my cubes in rows of 5 because that always helps me. And then I know he got 10 more silly bands from his friends. So I'm going to add 10 more. And I'm going to keep going in my rows of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I know his family gave him 5 more silly bands. So I'm going to keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's a lot of silly bands. So you've built you've built the silly bands with your cubes, and now you've drawn your picture. The last step is going to be to write about it. So pause the video, take a minute, try to figure out how many silly bands does Michael have now. Okay, so I'm going to look at the picture and try to find some groups of 10. And that's part of why I did it in rows of 5, because I know I can find a group of 10 really easily when I have 2 rows of 5. So there I have a group of 10. And then I can see there's another group of 10 right below that. And this isn't going to make it really easy for me when I have 2 groups of 10. And I can say, oh, there's 10 in this group, and there's 10 in this group. So I have 10, 20, and then there's 21. So how many silly bands does Michael have now? I could say 21. I could also say there's a group of 10 plus another group of 10 plus one more, and that equals 21. I could also use the original numbers and say, well, there's 6 plus 10 plus 5. And that equals 21. So there's a lot of different ways that we can figure this out. So try to figure it out. You may have counted by ones and you may have numbered each of the silly bands and just counted them that way. You may have grouped them in by 5s or by 10s and found a different way to group them. Lots of different ways to figure it out. So see what you do, and we'll talk about some different strategies as we move along. So the next one we are going to do is we are going to work on a problem called How Many Roses? So clear your whiteboard, get your cubes ready. This one says Kim had 12 roses. She gave Sam 5 of them. How many roses does Kim have left? So for this problem, think about what number you need to start with. We're starting with 12. So make sure you have 12 cubes. And then it says she gave Sam 5 of them. So right now I want you to think, are we adding more? Are we taking some away? If she gave them away, we're taking them away. So count back 5 and take 5 of your cubes away. Now, when you go to draw that in a picture, you still need to start with 12 and you still need to cross 5 of them off. And then I want you to answer the question, how many roses does Kim have left? So think about how you could answer that question and show your work. Pause the video and take a few minutes to work on that. The next story problem that we're going to work on is how many fish. So make sure you finish the last problem. You can pause the video if you need to, and then we'll work on this one. It says Max saw 17 fish in a pond. Then 10 fish swam away. How many fish were left? So the first thing that you need to do is think about what the story problem is telling us. It says Max saw 17 fish in a pond, so we know we're going to be starting with that 17 fish. So get your cubes and build 17. And then it says 10 fish swam away. So think, are we adding them or are we going to count back? That's right, we need to count back. So take 10 of those cubes away. Now think about how you're going to draw this in a picture. You're starting with 17, and then you're going to be crossing 10 off. When you go to write about it, you need to answer the question, how many fish were left? So pause the video, take a few minutes to work on this problem, and then we'll keep going. Okay, now in your math book on page 41, you are going to work on this problem alone, but I'm going to read this one to you. So remember, you can pause the video, you can work on this all on your own. It says, Mrs. E had 9 marbles. She gave 4 marbles to Sam. How many marbles does Mrs. E have left? Okay, think about all of the steps that we need to take to solve a story problem. Use all of your tools and show all of your work on your page. When you're all done with the problem, there's a couple of games that you can play. So there's a game called Roll and Record that you can play. And we've played Roll and Record when we're adding our numbers together. This time we're going to play Roll and Record when we're counting back and we're subtracting. So you're going to be rolling a number dice and a dot dice. So we have a 10, and then we have 5 on the dots. So we're going to count back. We're going to say the number 10, 10, and then count back each dot. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So I know that 10 minus 5 equals 5. So I could build this too. I can start with my 10. So here's my 10. And then I can count back 5 and I can take them away. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now there's no spot to record it right here on the website, but we see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. There is a recording sheet that you can print out. And right above the number 5, you would write 10 minus 5. and your answer is 5, and that's why we're writing it right next to the 5. So we'll try one more together. We're going to roll. And this time we're starting with 10 again. So I'll put my 10 back out. And remember, I like to group it in rows of 5 so that it's nice and easy to count and it looks like a 10 frame. And this time I see 6 on the dot dice. So when I go to take away and I count back, I'm going to count back 6 on the dot dice, and then I'll count back 6 of my cubes. And it's good to do it 2 times just to double check your work. So I start with 10, and then I say 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So I should have 4 left once I take 6 away over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And look at that, we have 4 cubes left. So when I go to record it on my recording sheet, I'm going to look at the number 4, and I can write 10 minus 6 right above the 4. There's one more game that you can play. Well, you can play this one a bunch of times and fill up your recording sheet, but you can also play this Halloween game. And this game has a math problem at the bottom. So it says 2 plus 5. Take a minute, see if you can figure that out on your board or with your cubes. All right, and you're right, it's 7. So I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to cover the number 7. And then it gives me a new math problem. And it's going to say 3 plus 3. And I have another part of the picture. And I'm going to put that over that's right, the 6. And it's going to cover that part. And as I get them correct, it's going to give me a new piece of the puzzle. And once I answer all of the questions, my puzzle will be complete. And so this game is also in Google Classroom for you to play. So I hope you have a really fun time practicing your story problems and playing the games today. Work hard and keep up the great work.